Hello, I'm Monica Price and welcome to Cuppa TV. Today's show we talk to Lee Hurd, volunteer and community manager from the Royal Life Saving Society UK. And then we welcome back Natasha Marie, who comes to the show this time to talk about her singing career, along with her guitarist John Soanes, and then they're going to give us one of their songs. My first guest joins me to talk about their new campaign to raise awareness of the issue of drowning here in the UK, and also to raise awareness of the increasing numbers that we have. We welcome Lee Hurd, volunteer and community manager from the Royal Life Saving Society UK. Thank you so much, Lee, for joining me on Cuppa TV. Good morning. So, Lee, first of all, let's talk about your actual society, because many people know who you are and what you do. So let's talk about what you actually do.
So we are the leading drowning prevention charity in the UK. So for many years, it's our 125th year anniversary next year.
Oh, right.
So many years we've been training people in what to do when they fall in the water and how to react if somebody's in the water. So people might recognise the bronze medallion and then the pool lifeguarding qualification that came after it. So they are our awards, and we train people so that we can keep people relatively safe, and we've had some great success in the swimming pools, so there's hardly any drownings in swimming pools now.
Fantastic. But I mean, it's gone beyond that now, hasn't it, though, Lee?
Yes.
It's gone beyond the swimming pool. So you as a society have brought out a new film, haven't you, to raise awareness of drowning, and that's called Beneath the Surface. So that's just launched, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
So tell us about that.
Well, increasingly over the last few years, we've had many more deaths in an open water environment, a cold open water environment. And we've been very fortunate. We've had some really brave families come forward and are happy to be filmed because they want other families to recognise the dangers so that they don't go through what they have had to go through. Their bravery is just unmatchable, and just their expression of interest in what we do and trying to help us raise awareness hopefully will save at least one life.
Because I mean, it's quarries, is that right, Lee? Tell us about, when you say open waters, tell us about, is it quarries, rivers? That's how I see it. Is that what it is?
Yes, it's quarries, rivers, canals, those kind of places where people have really easy access to. And when it's a hot day especially, we have a lot of problems with youngsters in the summer holidays, and that's why we talk about this issue this time of year, coming up to the summer holidays.
So I suppose people just jump in and...
Yes, it's a perfect way to call off, and sometimes you can't blame people, but we're trying to help people understand the dangers so that they can make those correct decisions, so that if they are looking to cool off, we're always trying to encourage people to go places where there's either lifeguards or somebody there that can watch them just so they're safe if they're going to do it.
And I mean, when they, as you say, it's a summer's day, you just think, oh, that's a lovely river, I'll jump in. What are the dangers, though, Lee, when you jump into a water that you don't know, the unknown, really, you're jumping into?
I mean, by and large, people don't understand that it's the coldness of the water.
Really?
So people talk about the debris on the bottom, which is a huge danger because especially in canals and rivers, etc., you can't see the bottom. One of the reasons quarries is such a problem is because when they're originally dug out, they go very deep and it's extremely cold. And people swim out, and on the other side it might be relatively warm because the shallowness of it and it's heated up. Once you swim out into the middle, it gets much deeper and the water gets really cold.
Is that right? So then, of course, they'll die then of hypothermia.
Yeah,
as well as drown. Presumably, that sort of is that a sort of process? They get hypothermia and then drown.
No, interestingly, hypothermia is normally the last thing that happens.
Really?
Yeah. So what tends to happen is people's extremities, especially fingers and toes, start to get so cold that their swimming ability just goes out the window. So some people often can swim fine in a swimming pool, and it's always the case that we speak to families after a tragedy, and they say he was such a great swimmer.
Oh, so even a strong swimmer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
The conditions are just so different, and the effect that the cold has on people's muscles unfortunately gets them into that situation way before hypothermia kicks in.
So somebody jumping in perhaps to save somebody, that's not a good thing either.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, is that part of your campaign, Lee? How do you sort of get that message across? Because a natural reaction, I would imagine, for a group of friends would be for one of the friends to jump in and try and save, but you'd say, no, don't do that.
Yeah, it's very difficult because you're right, the human reaction would be to jump in and save somebody. We supplement our campaigns throughout the year with training programmes that happen in leisure centres, community centres all over the country, and schools as well. And that's the basic information that we give people to stay on the bank and use something to reach out that they can release, such as a stick, a golf club, whatever it might be that they've got in the park. Because it's much safer for them to be at the side. We do hear lots of stories of people going in to try and save their dogs or their friends.
You do.
And they get in the situation themselves then.
And that's not good. But I mean, statistically, I was looking at the statistics. I mean, it's quite alarming. So tell us some of the statistics, Lee, that you've got. How many people drown, for instance, in a day or in a week?
Well, on average, over the last 5 years, around 400 people have died every single year. Last year it was a little lower, but we think that was because the summer wasn't as hot. But that goes, when you dig down into the figures, that's around one person every 20 hours, so one a day.
One person every 20 hours?
Yes.
I mean, that's a huge amount of people.
It's a damning figure, isn't it?
It is, and that's across the whole of the UK?
Yes, UK and Ireland.
And I mean, is there a particular age group that are high risk, or is it anybody?
I think, like any safety issue, young males seem to be the biggest problem. 80% of all drowning victims are males. And again, if you dig down, a lot of those are in the 18 to 24 age category.
So that's 1 in 8. I mean, that's a very high statistic. So again, why do you think that is, Lee? Is that lack of understanding, lack of awareness? What's the reason for that, do you think?
I think it's a couple of issues. One, I think that males seem to have a better perceived understanding of their ability in certain situations, so they're more likely to take risks. And two, it is that lack of understanding, and that's what we're trying to get across with the campaign. So last year we launched a video that was directly targeted at young males. This year we're trying to target the parents as well, to help them to also understand the dangers, so perhaps they can talk to their young children and young males especially, and try and avoid them going to these places.
And I mean, is there probably a sense of bravado as well? I'd imagine, you know, if you're all there and there's a gang of you and you think, oh, if one goes in, then perhaps you all go in.
Yes.
Does that come into it as well?
I think so, but interestingly as well, around 40% of the victims that are in a drowning incident don't actually plan to be in the water in the first place, so they might be playing football around the water or in the park, etc., and they get too close, or they're not.
And they've fallen in, or maybe gone in to retrieve something.
Yes,
does that
absolutely.
happen? That's interesting, isn't it? So they're not actually then being foolhardy and jumping in.
In some circumstances.
It's the circumstances that just that they find themselves in, really. And
Absolutely.
so what does the society hope to do then, Lee? What do they hope to bring to the people to make sure that people are aware of how dangerous it can be, open water?
Well, our aim is to completely eradicate drowning. That's what we're here to do. But we have to get into people's mindsets to help them understand that it's their decision on the day, and they must try and stay out of the water. If somebody goes in, call 999 and try and get help. If you are going to try and intervene, do it safely from the bank, where you can keep yourself safe and out of the water. We understand that people like water, and the growth in open water swimming and triathlons in the last year has meant that more people are getting into the water now. But luckily these events are normally supervised by lifeguards and there's safety plans in place. So we urge people that if they do want to try these things and cool down in the summer, that they go somewhere where they can be safely watched, and there's somebody there that have took their safety into account. I
mean, here in the West Midlands we are surrounded by water, of course, so we have lots of opportunities, even in the city, for people to jump into the water, let alone in the countryside where we've got rivers, of course. And is there any particular danger, is there any sort of a place where more people are likely to drown? Is there a more dangerous area or a dangerous place, Lee?
Rivers and quarries cause
an
issue, just because of the access, I think. I mean, there's a particular problem in Birmingham, although fortunately we don't hear too much about it, with the canals. There's a huge canal network across the West Midlands.
Yes, there is.
We do see people in there constantly, but they are very dangerous. They're very deep again in the middle, and access into them might be quite easy, but getting out of them is quite difficult because you have to.
Yes, I suppose it's getting out, is it? And often, when you walk along the canals, 'cause I've walked along the canals myself, there is no safety guards. I mean, it's literally pavement canal.
That's it.
That's it, which is lovely as a walker, but I suppose that, when you're younger, you might think, oh, I'll just jump in and, and just take the risk, really.
Yes. And again, though, with the canals, we have issues due to people taking on alcohol and walking home, cycling home. There seems to be this culture, especially in Tamworth, where I'm originally from, where people tend to go along the pubs on the canal on bikes and have a couple of drinks. And you're right that the access is so easy, and people just tend to slip in. And once you've had alcohol in your system, which again 17% of drowning victims do have,
really,
then obviously again it just adds to the fact that the water's cold, and you're not in charge of your body as much because there's alcohol in your system.
So are there golden rules when you go to these open waters, Lee? Would you say there's, can you give us sort of some top tips for people to do and when they go and they want to have a wonderful day out by the open water, but what should you do?
Well, the first thing I suggest is if there's nobody there supervising you, people shouldn't be going in at all, just because I've been working with this organisation now for 4 years, and it's still difficult for me to understand all of the dangers that could happen because each place is completely different. But a lot of reservoir owners and the beaches especially, in the Midlands we are fortunate, we're not that far away from a beach.
No, yes.
These are supervised. A lot of reservoirs are opening up beached areas where they'll have lifeguards on during the summer, so families can go and enjoy the water whilst being watched.
In a safe environment.
Exactly. Yeah, these people are trained, and they have ongoing training throughout the year so that they're ready for the summer and able to react properly.
Oh, that's lovely. Well, it's been very interesting. Thank you so much
My
for
pleasure.
coming on to Cuppa TV. And, I hope that the campaign is very, very worthwhile and saves some people's lives.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we're just going to take a quick break now. So come back and join me in just a minute. Welcome back to Cuppa TV. My next guest is someone who's joined me on the sofa before, but to talk about her belly dancing. But today she joins us to talk about her wonderful singing career. We welcome Natasha Marie and her guitarist John. Natasha, thank you so much for joining me again.
Thank you so much for having me back.
Wonderful to have you. And John, welcome to Cuppa TV.
Thank you very much.
With
nice
your
to be here.
beautiful guitar. So
Thank you.
obviously there's going to be a song. I feel there's a song coming on.
Definitely.
But Natasha, you've been on the show obviously to talk about your belly dancing, but this is your passion, isn't it? Your singing career.
Definitely, yeah. I love singing.
Tell us about your career, Natasha, and how it started.
Well, my ex-partner heard me singing, and that's when I kind of started doing the karaoke's. But way before that, I auditioned for Black Voices. They're like a black a cappella group.
I've heard of that, yes.
And we went off to Southern Africa, Canada, Brunei.
Oh, wow,
and it was amazing.
Yeah. What an amazing experience.
Brilliant, yeah.
So how long ago was that, Natasha?
About 20 years ago,
It doesn't look 20 years.
Oh, thank you.
Just last week. So Natasha, since then, so really it's been your passion, but you got back into your music, didn't you? So in between all that, what were you doing? Were you gigging? Have you been gigging since then?
Yeah, about, how long ago now? About 5 years ago, I did the BRMB Christmas Switch On, and I was supporting McFly, Ocean Colour Scene, and Simon Webb.
Wow, so
and that
some
was
really
awesome.
good names.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And how did you come into play, John? When did you two meet?
Well, quite recently I've just been asked to play the guitar for this particular song.
Yes.
So it's been a matter of getting together, rehearsing
Brilliant.
it, and it's great to work with them.
Excellent. And John, you're a session guitarist, aren't you? So presumably you play with lots of musicians.
I play,
and different
I
things.
play in a few bands and sessions and do a bit of recording work and that sort of thing. So
And how long have you been doing that?
A long time, since I
Yeah.
was a teenager, which is a long time ago.
And obviously something you enjoy.
Oh yeah.
And
very
is
much so.
it nice, like working with, with artists like Natasha, to give you a variety? Do you enjoy
Very
that?
much so, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I usually do pop and rock things, but this is a bit out of my comfort zone because it's more in the jazz genre.
Yeah.
So it's a bit different. So
Oh,
it pushes me.
fantastic. And Natasha, is that something that you like? Are you going to stay in that sort of genre?
Well, since I started singing jazz, I really like it.
Yes,
so
yeah.
fingers crossed next year, the
Yes.
Lichfield Jazz Festival.
Yes.
And
yes.
hopefully John will do it with me.
Yes, that's
Hopefully.
it. You've heard it here on TV, so you can't. Don't nod, John, because you won't be able to get out of it. But I mean, Natasha, for you, it really is something, as we said, it's your passion, something you want to do. But as far as gigging is concerned, how do you go about doing that? Do you have somebody who looks after you and takes care of, booking you on gigs and things?
Yeah, my partner Chris, he's my manager and he gets most of my gigs.
Brilliant.
Or Facebook, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wonderful power of social
I
media.
know, yeah.
So what are you doing recently that's, here in the West Midlands? What are you up to?
Well, John and I are doing it's called Tysley Live Lounge.
Right.
I think it's the 26th of July.
Okay.
So that'll be our first gig together.
Well, fantastic. You looking forward to that, John?
Very much so.
Yeah. And have you done anything yourself, like, any local gigs, John, at all?
I've done quite a lot of local gigs. I'm in a function band as well, so we play all over the country doing weddings and corporate events.
West Midlands is very musical. I don't think people
Yeah, I think
realise
so
that,
as well,
do you?
yeah,
And I mean, Midlands is a very, has a very strong musical core for all genres of music, actually. Would you agree with that, John?
Definitely, yeah.
And I mean, why do you think people don't perhaps see it as kind of a place to have their music, sort of spearheaded, really?
I'm not really sure. I think London and Manchester and places like that get all the and Liverpool, I guess, they get the focus, and the Midlands misses out a little bit. But there's so much music, in the whole area.
Yes. And
Lots
do you
of
write
bands.
music as well, John?
I do, yeah. I released a solo album not long ago, which was instrumental, sort of almost soundtrack music, just because I could, and it was interesting to do and different. So, an album called Climate Change, which is available.
Yeah.
It was fun to do. So I'll have a go at anything.
Yes. And Natasha, you want to write and do your own songs. This is a cover that you're going to do today.
It is, yeah.
Would you like to write and sing your own songs?
I've done a collaboration with a guy called Greg Dean, who you also work with, and he's trying to teach me how to get into writing, but I can't do it, but I'd like to.
But that's okay. You can have other writers write for you, and you can sing. You have a gift of voice,
Oh,
so
thanks,
yes,
Monica. Thank you.
So that as long as you've got that. And when you're singing, Natasha, what would you like to do? What's your goal for the future? Where would you like to be?
The last time I came on, I said cruise ships.
Yes, you did.
But I'm swaying towards doing festivals.
She's a typical woman. We change our minds. What can we say?
Yeah.
That's it. The viewers at home will realise that. But it is. So you're thinking more festivals. And why?
I'd love to. I think because of meeting John, and I just really enjoy working with a musician.
I think with the live festivals, you have the sort of atmosphere. Is that what it is for you, John? That's
the difference. That sort of a lot of times outdoors. There's a complete cross section of people there, and it's just a nice environment.
In the
nice
summer,
vibes.
with the sunshine, which we're
definitely.
seriously lacking at the moment in our British summer. But it is though. There's a special. I think lots of bands, singers, solo artists, bands around the country. They love to do the live festivals, don't they? Which is why Glastonbury is so popular, of course. And
it starts this week. Doesn't
yes,
it?
that's right. It does. And I mean, for you, Natasha, is there a festival that you'd really like to go to?
Oh, Glastonbury.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing about the festivals as well, they have different genres of music and different age groups. They do cater for everyone.
Yeah, like Dolly Parton was there
Absolutely,
one year.
she was there last year.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. And then, so at the moment, then you've joined forces with John. So you've been practicing like mad and doing this lovely song. Are you going to be doing some more work with John in the future?
Definitely.
Like? Yeah.
I'm not letting you go now.
Yeah.
I hope your wife don't mind.
No, sure, Emma.
I was going to say, do you enjoy working
Very
with
much so,
Natasha,
yeah.
John?
Yeah, it's really good.
Fantastic. And are you playing with anybody else at the moment, John?
I'm in a band called Fool's Life. I was in an acoustic...
Sorry, what are they called?
Fool's Life.
Fool's
That's
Life.
the function band. It's with Greg Dean is part of that band. He's an iconic guy who recently did Download.
Oh, which is what you
doing
were
really
talking
well
about,
at the
yes.
moment. I was in an acoustic duo called Grace with my wife who sings, so we do that sort of thing. And then any other projects that might crop up, I'll give it a go.
And then festivals for you. Have you got any festivals booked, Natasha, that's coming up apart from the one we've just spoken about?
Hopefully my manager will sort that out.
Yes,
If not, he's sacked.
What can we say? But I mean, as a singer though, what do you do to get your voice ready for your songs?
Well, I've got a really
Natasha?
good vocal coach. He's given me some
fantastic.
scales that I have to do every day.
Yes.
But it's just like keeping your voice healthy and doing your scales, not too much talking, smoking or alcohol.
Yes.
So there's no fun.
There's no fun, but you have a beautiful voice, so
Oh,
there we
thank
are.
you.
So that's your gift. Well, we're going to listen to your song now. So tell us about the song you're going to play.
Okay, so it's called Summertime and it was done by Billie Holiday. I think Lena Horne did it
Yes.
as well. Do you know who else
Yes.
sang this?
It's been a cover. But you're going to put your own
Yes, we
addition
are,
to it,
yeah.
own twist to it.
Yes, we are.
So that's brilliant. So we're going to just play out to the break, but just hold on there for just a second. But thank you for joining me
thank
today.
you so much
Wonderful
for having
to
me
see
back.
you. Thank you.
you.
So that's it for today. I'd like to thank Lee and Natasha and John for joining me, and we'd love to hear from you. So please do get in touch with us, either by email or join us on Facebook or Twitter at Big Centre TV. Thanks so much for watching, and to play us out is John and Natasha with their song Summertime. Bye-bye.
Da 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 da, ba da 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 da, ba 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 ba. Summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Although your dad is rich and your mama's good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. One of these mornings, you're gonna rise up singing. Then you'll spread your wings and you'll take to the sky. But till that morning, there nothing can harm you. With mommy and daddy standing by. Da da, ba ba da da, da 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 da, ba da da da, ba ba da da. Summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Although your dad is rich and your mama's good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. So hush, little baby, don't you